Good morning. So today we come to the final section of the puja. So do look at the other little videos on the puja if you haven't already done so. Otherwise this might not make a lot of sense. So yeah, we've been right the way through these other 6 verses of the puja. We began with worship, with recognizing where we were in relation to those that have gained enlightenment, those that have become free of any negative mental states, those who have freed themselves from the cycle of rebirths. And in salutation, we bowed down to that aspiration. Then in the 3rd section, we went for refuge, and it means that we turned the whole orientation of our life towards the Buddha, his teachings, and the spiritual community. We dedicated ourselves wholeheartedly and took those precepts. So I haven't said anything about those 5 precepts, and I'll do that on another occasion. Then we confessed, and often people are quite confused about why Buddhism would have anything to do with confession, but this isn't about being absolved, it's about having a purified conscience, about freeing ourselves by making confession, really freeing ourselves. We don't have irrational guilt about anything. But we let go really fully of all our past unskillfulness. And it's very important that the verse after that is a rejoicing in merits. Having unburdened ourselves, having really let go of our transgressions of the precepts, we rejoice, and we rejoice in the good done by all beings. And as I said, that's a practice that we engage in quite a lot in the Tree Ratna community. So after all that, we were ready for a teaching. And yesterday, I talked about entreaty and supplication verse, and I followed that with a teaching from the Zen master Sensang. I don't know what he made of it, but anyway, it's a great teaching. And today we come to transference of merit and self-surrender. So this is interesting. What are merits? Well, they're not like currency that we can pass from one person to another, but at the same time, we do accumulate merit through our practice. And we can feel that, we become lighter, freer over the years of practicing the precepts, practicing meditation, practicing becoming more aware. So we know that, well, in some ways we're shedding part of ourselves, we're shedding those parts of ourselves that are not serving us, that create suffering in the world. And as we do that, you could say that we are purifying ourselves to some extent. We're feeling more whole. We're feeling freer, lighter, you could say. So having done the puja, having been through all those other verses, we have gained, you could say, some kind of merit. It's not anything in actuality, but actually what we're really expressing is that, look, this hasn't been just for us. This isn't some selfish little practice we're doing on our own. This is for the benefit of all beings. And yes, our whole practice of Buddhism is not a selfish act. Of course we want to change ourselves, transform ourselves, But if we have found something really precious, if we really have faith and trust in that, then actually we want that for everybody. We're not satisfied with having it just for ourselves. How could we? If we really feel compassion, if we've really gained any level of wisdom, then actually this has got to be for everybody. We couldn't see everybody suffering and kind of go off into the sunset by, I've freed myself. It wouldn't make any sense. So this is where bodhicitta comes in. This is where the will, the intention, the heart desire for enlightenment comes in. It's not just for ourselves, it's for everybody. And in transference of merit, that's what we're recognizing, that's what we're stating, that's what we're expressing, that this isn't just for us, that we want to serve all sentient beings. We want to be a channel through which the will for enlightenment works through. We can't do it by the smaller part of ourselves, but all of us have, and I think we all sense this, we've got a bigger part of ourselves, we've got a compassionate part of ourselves, and that's what we're developing. Yes, you could say we've got a small mind and we've got a big mind. And when we've got a small mind, we can feel very small, we can feel very selfish. And we can feel very out of control. For example, when we're in a bad mood, or when we have a temper or whatever, it contracts us. And when we don't feel like that, when we feel in positive mental states, the feeling is broader, it's lighter, it's more expansive, and it's more generous and more compassionate. It has more time for other people, it has more space for other people, it goes out rather than inward and becoming very constrained. So it's important to notice that actually when we feel expansive, we feel more connected to others. And you could say that those feelings of interconnectedness are more in line with reality. So what I mean by that is that we are, if we're really honest with ourselves, we are no more important than anybody else. We're no more significant than anybody else. All living beings want to be happy. They all want to avoid suffering. We all want much the same things. Yes, there are variations, small variations, but essentially, we want to be loved, and we want to be able to love. We want to be free in some way where we can feel spontaneous and unself-conscious. And yeah, I don't think there's a better word than freedom. We all want that. And so recognizing that every living being wants that connects us. And yeah, that's why a lot of Buddhists and a lot of other people, a lot of young people nowadays, want to be vegetarian or vegan. It's a recognition of the of the holiness of all living beings. It's a recognition of the deep need for every living being to protect itself, to want to be alive, and so on. So, in a way, the will to enlightenment, this bodhicitta, is an expression of that deep connectiveness to all living beings. All living beings. And here at the end of the puja, we dedicate our practice to every single living being. So that's all I'm going to say for now. I might talk about some other aspect of the puja, maybe mantra chanting tomorrow. Bye for now.